Alright guys, I come live because the silver bass are in again, and I like to soak them in ice water overnight so they stiffen up. But we got some right here, and we also got a cooler full of them, and we ended up with quite a few in the last hour before daylight last night. So I wanted to come on and show you guys my tricks of cleaning a silver bass. I did it last year. I did a video and it went really good and everybody learned something from it. So I'm going to do it again so everybody can see how I prefer to clean a silver bass. And my cleaning process starts as soon as I get them on the bank and as soon as I catch them. And what I do is I cut the gill plate right there so that way it could bleed out. There's a little tube thing right there. And they'll bleed out, because if you don't do that, when you go to fillet them and you hit that rib bone cage off their backside, it'll just fill that meat right up with blood, and then you'll have blood all over your meat, which changes the taste of it. So so we do that first as soon as we catch them, and then I throw them in water and let them bleed out. When I get home, I grab the cooler and a nice bag of ice and fill the cooler up with the fish, dump the ice on it, and then add water to it so that way they stiffen up overnight. So we have some nice stiff fish the next day because they're easier to clean that way. So let me set my phone up. Let's see if we can set it up where everybody can see. I guess that's a little dark from the window behind me, but there's really not much I can do about that. I can go like this. So just make your regular cuts across the fin line here out the back. I always make that first cut on every fish just like I do my walleye. Flip it over. And these things are scaly too, so you're going to get scales. Make that second cut right down to the tail. We're going to pull this first piece of meat off. Now, if I didn't gill them right inside there, I don't know if you can see, there's still a little blood inside its system, but this would all be covered with blood if I didn't cut the gills on them. So that's why I cut the gills on them. Now, I did see a post from a bait shop saying that these things have Y bones in them. Well, these things do not have Y bones in them. I have never seen a Y bone in a silver bass in my entire life. I've been cleaning them for 6 years. And I've probably cleaned a couple thousand of these things. So, unlike a pike, these don't have Y bones. But you got your fillet. And on the back side of this meat here, right off the skin, there's a whole bunch of red mudline meat. And what I normally do is I don't push my knife down all the way. I don't put a lot of pressure on it, which leaves it nice and clean, but you can still see the mudline of the meat. But there's all that mudline meat that's on the back of the skin. Now, if I were to push down all the way and get every piece of meat there is, you would end up with this. And that's what makes a fish taste fishy. So, I don't push down all the way when I'm filleting it. I mean, look how thin that is. That's like super thin. There really isn't much there. And you end up with a clean back here. And just like my walleyes, I could make a cut on each side of my mud line right there, and you could peel these right off. And it peels that mud line right up and out of the fish. Sometimes it falls off early. You just take your knife, cut that right off, and you got a nice piece of silver bass, clean, white, fresh meat. And I don't see a Y bone in these things. So I'm really emphasizing that because a local bait shop emphasized that there's Y bones in these things, and that bait shop's the only one in town, and there's no Y bones. Sorry, guys. I gotta say it, man, but you get two nice pieces of meat off of each fillet. 1 second. Have a good one, man. Yep. UPS guy there. So we'll move on to the other side. We'll take that piece of meat off of this side. Air bladder just popped. Same thing with this side. Don't push down all the way. Don't put a lot of pressure on it. Get down in there with your knife so you get the meat off. And most of that red stuff is gone. I have to clean this one up a little bit. But there's all that red meat right left on the skin. There's the spot where it's on the piece of meat there. So there's one fish down. UPS guy, go sit down. And to get all that off, this is what I do. I make that cut on each side of the mud line. I peel it back, and there's that red spot on that side of the meat. And there's the mud line. And right here, you can see all that red stuff there. I lay my fish down, and I take my knife, and I hold it almost flat, and I'll take it right on the edge of that meat, and I'll run that all the way down, which will take care of some of that. There's some of that there. And then you just take your knife, and you shave what you got left there right off of that meat. I mean, this is so thin. And you got most of it off, which that little bit right there doesn't bother me. So there's another nice 2 big pieces of meat off of one fish. So you get 4 pieces of meat off of one fish. There's no mud line. There's no red mud line meat on the back of the fillet. This will turn out real good, either deep fried or cooked on the grill or baked in the oven. I have like a million different recipes I use. I kind of make fish different every time I cook it, depending on seasoning. So if you guys like this video, share it. Maybe we can teach some other fishermen how to fillet a silver bass, but I also fillet my largemouth, smallies, walleyes. I do all the same thing to all the other fish, and you end up with nice white fillets like this. No mud line. No mud line meat. Oh, I forgot to take that piece off. Right there. Where is it? Right there. So you got that red piece there on that meat. All you got to do is shave it off. So I shaved it off. There's your little piece. And now it's all white meat. Yes, Ava. I know. Yeah. So get out on the water, share this video, catch some silver bass, catch some fish, period, man. They're fun. The only thing I don't peel the mud line out in is my bluegill, crappie, and perch. I leave that in there. It's not a real big deal. Doesn't really change anything. So I'm going to get back to cleaning these fish. Here, I'll pull another one out. And you'll see that these fish are pretty good size. Here, it's right next to my head. You know, these are good sized fish. You get a lot of meat off them. But get out and enjoy the outdoors and clean your own fish, because it makes you feel good when you clean them and cook them.